when you're trying to get better at doing this kind of work, it's a lot of self awareness, personal growth, and I think that's what draws a lot of us. And I know that, at least for me, that's what draws me towards it, and why I've always wanted to do it. It's, of course, I want to make money and make a living and do really well and all those things, but it's really second to playing the game and mastering yourself. And we're all a little bit different, but one of the reasons why when you look outside yourself you get in so much trouble is because you see people posting on boards and everyone's making money every day, and there's a system and it seems easy. But if you're more of an artist, it doesn't work that way. There's an accountant, like if you look at the accountant versus the artist kind of a thing. If you're an accountant and you try to be an artist, you get in trouble. And if you're an artist and you try to act like an accountant, you also get in a lot of trouble. And it's really about accepting yourself. That's why I don't talk a lot about how people should trade, because it's really hard to tell someone how to trade. They can observe from others how to trade, and because it's also never the answer. You can have 10 really good strategies and none of them could be for you, or maybe one of them is for you and you could adapt and add to it. And that's how I built my strategy. Is I observed a lot of other traders, and eventually I found different pieces that could fit into my plan. And it's just kind of a lifelong journey to keep figuring out how I can be more of myself. I guess that's the best way to put it, versus kind of a version of somebody else, which gets me in a lot of trouble. And then you can just feel the anxiety and everything else. Kind of look at it like I trade more like an artist, I guess, versus an accountant. And when I try to push myself the other way, I get in trouble with come in every day and do the same scans and the same things. And that works for some people, and I understand that. It just doesn't work that well for me. I need to understand more about what everyone else is doing. Why are they stuck in something? That's why I like the stupid news type stuff. And it's just natural for me to go that direction. It's kind of like you got this Ferrari and you're in a parade all the time, and you're in this damn parade, but you want to just go 100 miles an hour and just unleash that Ferrari. But you're going to run over the kids and all the taffy stands in the process and get a ticket and get your Ferrari taken away from you. You have to sit on the sidelines for a while or whatever, something worse. And that's kind of how it works. With trading, it's like you're waiting, and you need to be parked or on the expressway just tearing it up 5% of the time. Maybe you park 5% and you're on the expressway 5%, and the other 90% you're in the parade going 5 miles an hour just waiting. And you could say you're a lion, and you don't hunt during the day and you hunt at night, and unless something walks right in front of you during the day, and then maybe even then you're too damn lazy, you're taking a nap and you don't want to waste your energy hunting until nighttime when you have an advantage at night. You can see better, you have more energy. Everything else is the people that you're going to hunt or the animals you're going to hunt have less sight, and it lines up and it makes sense. And you could also look at surfers, and surfers, some of them go out there and they sit and they just paddle for 90 minutes and they don't take any waves. And I was told by someone else that it's interesting, if you watch good surfers, there'll be 25 of them out there, and I haven't seen this myself, but certain waves will come and 3 of them will get up and take those waves because those are their waves. They understand the waves, they feel connected to the waves, and they'll surf the waves. And the other 22 surfers, they just won't do it. And it's really interesting that way. It's not always going to be your trade. It might be a great trade for somebody, but it might not be your trade. And when you've traded long enough, you understand exactly what this means. And if you don't know what this means, you don't know yourself well enough yet, which is fine, because you learn to know yourself more and more as you do this. And another thing about the surfing is, and this relates to the market, and this is something that I've been going through, is a lot of times I do best when I just sit out and I observe the market. I watch it during the day, distantly from my phone sometimes while I'm doing other things with my family, but I'll know what's going on. So if there's a 50-foot wave, I'll hear about it within an hour or something, or within a half hour, but I might not be there for the 50-foot wave. When that happens, I end up doing better because everyone else can probably sniff the 50-foot wave coming too, and there's a lot of pain and suffering trying to catch the 50-foot wave. But if the waves are normally 10 feet, and one that's 50 comes, I don't need to see it, because if a 50-foot wave comes, there's going to be another 50-foot wave, a 100-foot wave, or at least a bunch of 30-foot waves. And then I can really surf those waves. So I don't have to be there for the 50-foot wave. And that's another thing. And so the surfing, you could do the surfing analogy a few ways, or the example of it, and think about, when do you show up? Why do you show up? What gets you in there? Is it worth it? Are you doing things that you really feel good about over and over again, and keeping track of at an intimate detail why they work, how long they work, when they stop working? Or is it just like this busyness exercise where you're in there all the time doing stuff? some people might not connect with this as much because that's the way they trade and it works for them, and that's great if that's your thing. You bang out money every day. When it stops working, the market changes, you shut yourself down, you figure out another way. You want to be very active, take tons of small winners. And there's nothing wrong with that. For some people that works. It's never worked for me. So it's the other things that work for me. It's the big moments where it's not that I'm just here for big moments either. There's a lot of little trades that happen too, but it's always being ready for those moments that are big for me, like where it might not look like something for another person, but that's my wave, my moment. And I understand what that means because I'm not getting caught up on a bunch of waves that aren't mine. Because when I do that, I lose my way and I basically get further and further away from my best self. So I like you can pick whatever one you want with the surfing or the Ferrari at the parade or whatever, the lion, but there's a lot of truth in that stuff.